How's it going, guys? I'm back with another video, and today we're going to talk about the long tube headers install for the Corvette. As you know, I bought a C6 back in the summer. I got a midweek, and by Sunday the check engine light came on. It had been barely 3 days since I got the car, and it drove me insane for the next 2-3 months. I tried to diagnose with my mechanic what the problem was and what was causing the check engine light to come on. We thought it might have been the plugs or the spark plug wires or the O2 sensors, so I replaced all of those and no dice. The check engine light still kept coming back on a week or so down the road, and it drove me nuts. So then we started entertaining the possibility that it might be a catalytic converter problem based on how the car was previously driven. The cats would have been hollowed out at this point. It's a 7-year-old car. There are 4 cats on it, and it could have been a problem with any one of those cats. So I did my research. Was I gonna put new OEM ones to replace the stock cats? What cats were causing the problem in the first place? Was it the primary cats or was it the ones on the mid pipe? I was toying around with the idea, and I'm like, it's gonna cost me $3,000 anyway, so why not just do away with the whole thing? Run it catless, get some more power in the process. That's the option that I went with. So from then I started researching which is the best value headers. I'm definitely not gonna be spending close to 5 grand Canadian on a set of American Racing headers or something. Is that what it's called? American Racing or Cooks or something like that. It's too much money, and it doesn't yield that much extra power anyway, so if I could get it for a lot less, that's the option that I'm gonna go with. So based on my research, I had to choose between TSP and TPS. I know, it's confusing too, but those were the 2 options that I whittled it down to. So TSP is Texas Speed. I don't know what the P is for, performance. TPS is Total Performance Solutions, I want to say. I'm not entirely sure. So I was going to go originally with a Texas Speed because they're a lot better known in the Corvette community. But after digging deeper, I found out that their system had a lot more issues than the TPS headers. There's a lot of ground clearance issues because the long tubes hang really low under the car, and that's really something that I cannot live with because I drive my car like a Civic. I can't be bothered to go really slow over bumps. It's just like, you know, boop, boop, boop. They're within $100 of each other, so the price wasn't the issue. Texas Speed was around $850 US, TPS was around $1,000. Also, Texas Speed, based on what I've read, are made in China. The TPS headers are made in the US. The stainless steel that they use to make the headers are from the US. I don't know how that's better, but I went with TPS because I didn't really want to, because, you know, the shipping would be another issue. I didn't want to wait 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks just to get my headers from China, even though it says Texas on it. So for the install, because these are headers, they're not, you know, little bolt-on parts that you take off the car and stick the new ones in. It doesn't work like that because you're messing with the airflow of how fast the exhaust is going. You're gonna need to get it tuned. So I did some research on reputable tuners for the LS engine specifically, and I saw a couple, and at least out here in Ontario, they're mostly based out west in the Cambridge, Kitchener, Waterloo area. That's about an hour and a half for me. Would I prefer if I had some other shop close by? Sure. That would mean that I wouldn't need to involve another person in another car, dropping off the Corvette, getting the work done, and then picking it up another day, because it's not really something that you do in one day. It's a 7-8 hour job, and that takes the full day, and I'm not going to show up to a place that's an hour and a half away from me at 8 a.m. sharp. It's just not going to happen. That means I gotta get up at 6 and, you know, leave for 6:30 and then be there for 8. Not going to happen. So I went with the option of dropping it off at any time during the day. I had to involve my buddy Andrew. Hi, Andrew. We dropped off the car. I came back for another day, left the Chrysler there, and then we both had to go back there another day to, you know, pick up the other car. I guess that's just the way it works when you're dealing with a shop that's an hour and a half away from you. So while it was there, it had to go on the dyno, and they did a dyno tune on it. They did a baseline dyno pull, so I found out that out of the 430 horsepower to the crank, I'm getting 370-ish. So that's the power that the car was generating before we started. And after the dyno, we got up to 395. So that's about a 25-ish horsepower increase. Torque, I got up to 405. Is that good? I mean, it's what, like less than 10% of the original power that the engine was already generating. So, but it's really something that I needed to do because I wanted to make the check engine light go away. Did I feel the extra 25 horsepower? I mean, when you're already starting with something like 430, it's a very small amount to be able to feel. I mean, if you're getting that kind of gain from a Honda Civic, you're probably going to feel that because it's going to represent a bigger percentage of the original power. So you're going to feel it on the butt dyno. But for me, did I feel it or did I not feel it? I can't really tell because I spent this much money on it. I think I was up to about 3,500 in total Canadian. So I was probably willing myself to actually feel the power, even though I wouldn't have been able to tell if I hadn't known that the work was already done on the car. But yeah, I wasn't chasing power when I went with it. It was a maintenance thing for me. It was fixing something that was broke rather than replacing something that was working for something that worked better. I'm pretty sure it does work better because there was more power from it. It wasn't something that I was doing solely to chase more horsepower. I mean, there's plenty of other things that I got planned for the car that would get the big power bump, a lot bigger than 20-25. So sound-wise, I don't hate how the car turned out. I'm gonna play you guys a few clips just so you can hear for yourself. There is the issue of the drone, which is something that happens whenever you touch something with the exhaust system of any car. And because of the way the Corvette was constructed, it's basically a big resonator, so it's really hard to avoid the occurrence of a drone when you tinker with the exhaust. But having said that, there's a little bit of a drone between 1500 RPM and 2000, around that little spot. I understand that's the engine speed most people typically cruise at. So if you don't like the drone, you're going to have to avoid it. You either shift up or shift down. In terms of the civility of the car after the work was done, I think it retained a lot of it because when I started with the car was pretty much very quiet for a V8. Right now, at 3,500 and up, it just wakes up. Once you hit that rev range, it shows people you've got something going on under the hood. So because I did away with the catalytic converters, like going from 4 to 0 cats, there are some drawbacks that you're going to have to expect and accept from doing that. One of the biggest issues that you start experiencing once you go catless is the amount of smoke that the car is expelling. It's unbelievable. I don't know what happens. I don't know how cats work. There's also the issue of the smell. You're gonna be smelling like unburnt fuel the whole time you're driving that car. But other than that, I think I'm pretty good with the decision that I made. I'm very happy with the kind of customer support that I got from, first of all, TPS, the ones who supply the headers, and CCP, who called me at every turn. So I'm really happy with how that turned out. I got it done in just a few days. So would I recommend TPS and doing this to your car? I would recommend it to people who are looking to make their car more capable on the track, and it lays the foundation to whatever extra modifications you're going to do down the line. If you're going to supercharge it, you're going to need headers, you're going to need a catless system. So yeah, I think that covers everything. I hope you have seen the other videos that I've done. I did a test with the Osmo Pocket and a suction cup mount and did some roller shots. I hope you've seen that. I hope to see you soon. Probably not something to do with the car because, you know, making a video out of that car is, first of all, it's boring. Second of all, it's going to cost me a lot of money if I keep changing parts on it. So I don't know what the next video is going to be about, but stay tuned. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.